saying a large
cost of living, right?
Cost of living. A big bag of Dorito chips for $2.50 in the U.S., but over here you're paying $12 for it.
Yeah,
Would you pay
That's
for
a
yours?
huge difference.
I got you.
Would you pay for yours?
And it's mental torture, because why I say it's mental torture? Right on the bag, you see the $2.50 post
And
there
you're
by,
paying 10 times that. Yeah.
post there by the distributor or the manufacturer. So when you see that and you say, wow, those guys in America, that's what they're paying, and then compared to what we're paying. So the thing about it is that when it comes to the urban development, the island is a mixed bag of homes and structure. Let's say, for example, this person building this home right now. This is a nice home. 8-inch concrete block, stucco finish, with the anchor bolts tied, and so they could stay in this home during a storm. Then look in the ground, the big hole in front of the ground. That's for the septic tank.
Oh, geez.
So the septic tank will go in there, and the soak away will go in there. And when they finish putting the cement stucco on it, they're good to go. But at the same time, in this bag of mix, we also saw wooden houses that would not stand up to a storm without a chance. You see my point? Yeah. So that's what it is. And that's basically because the Bahamas is a classist place. You have to know your class. I mean, which category are you in? Are you in a position where, yes, you live in this area and you have a job where you may work at a hotel, so you have a lot more income versus a guy who works for minimum wage but lives in the same area? You see how the property runs into each other and run into each other with a little wall? This property and this area was called, the original name of this was called 5 Pound Lot.
Why do we call it that?
Why 5 Pound Lot?
Yeah.
Because remember, under the British, we used to deal with pound, pence, and shillings.
Oh.
And back then, in the 1940s and 50s, you could buy a lot in this area for 5 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Now, here's the deal. Back in that time, to make 5 pounds, you had to be a boss.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You see my point?
Yeah.
Damn general or something.
Correct. You had to be really, really wealthy. My brother was a jockey, a horse racing jockey. We used to have horse races.
That's cool.
And one time he won 325 pounds. That was his chance to be a millionaire. He could have bought a whole block from the stoplight all the way from the left. He could have bought, take a look at this, from the stoplight from the left all the way to the stoplight to the right. He could have bought all of that land.
For
100 pounds.
100 pounds.
Yeah, he didn't have to spend the 325 or 150 pounds what he won. But what he did instead was separated himself from the family, and he acted rich. Of course, in modern times, as time went on, it didn't work out for him. He didn't invest his money smartly. And now he's retired and, he's stressed out. The family is not really excited about it. So this person has a hand pump inside their yard over to the right. See it over to the right? That little red structure?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, auto detailing right here.
Right. And so so with this, you can drill about 20, 30 feet in the ground and you'll hit water.
Fresh water, huh?
Wow. Fresh water. But here is the problem. The problem is, I said to you that we have what is called outhouses, bathrooms that are outside. So there could also be a possibility, and this is what the government thinks about it. This is why the government put in place in these areas government portable water, those little faucets, because they are afraid that it may have been fecal contamination. And also, additional to that, service stations are around the area directly in front of us, and those tanks that sit in the ground, I can almost guarantee you they've been there a long time.
Wow.
And they may be leaking a little bit.
Rusty, oxidized.
Rusted and leaking into the system.
Yep.
Now, if they probably got modern renovation and put in new tanks that were probably made from fiberglass instead of metal, it may be a different story.
So I have a question back on the housing situation. So the rent, someone told me that their rent is roughly like 175 a week, I think she told me.
Was she? Wow. 175 a week? No. That ain't a lot.
No?
That lands you right in that area we came from.
That's kind of what I was imagining.
That's where that land you. Now, when you start talking 15, 19, 2,000, 2,400, you start to get into a better area.
Okay. So I was confused because I've never heard of it by the week, right? That like that.
Yeah,
so
well, listen. all it is not. It's nothing hard to that. It's just fractions.
Yeah.
If I charge you $1,000 and then it's 28 days in the week, which is 4 weeks, I want you to break that down. Give me $200 a week. You can do it that way.
But do they do that because of their pay can fluctuate or
Correct.
cannot be guaranteed potentially? Or
It can be guaranteed.
Yeah.
And not only that, I think it also could be a trust issue. Because if you get paid every week,
Yeah.
and on an island in a delicate economy such as tourism, you get paid every week, but your rent is once a month.
Yeah.
By the time you get to that month, do you still have that money
No,
you got
hell
3
no.
weeks ago?
Hell no.
You got some little things that you got to take care of. The baby crying, he's sick. Then you come and tell me all that story. And you know, I'm very sympathetic to it and everything. But daddy, my baby.
Yep.
Where my money? So this is downtown Nassau for Bahamians, not for you guys.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you're not invited in this area. I'm just saying
It's more about local stuff.
I'm just saying that
I've been told.
you wouldn't ordinarily come down here. You would stay more by the cruise ship in Bay Street.
Okay.
That's where we're headed as well. So I just trying to give you a cross section of a lot of different things that and then two things you ask yourself as we move about. One, do you see any other tour cars riding in this area? Two,
no.
do you see any visitors walking around this area?
No.
And that tells you that you
I
are local right now.
We appreciate the perspective greatly.
Yeah, honestly, we would probably end up over here because that's how we.
Yeah, no. You would do that.
We
You
like
would do that.
We like
But
perspective.
Mostly.
outside of that, how many other tourists would do it?
No, I got you.
Or-
You don't
or
see.
would want to, yeah.
We had about 10,000 people came off that ship today.
Dang.
And only the three of you guys riding with me over here, or the 10,000.
Crazy.
I don't know what percentage that is of the 10,000, but I don't think that's 0.1% or something like that.
That tells me that most people just don't care. They're just
Yeah, they don't want to know all of that. You know,
Yeah, no.
you don't want to see how the turkey is killed.
No,
You
they just want the meat,
You
yeah.
just want turkey on your table for Thanksgiving.
That's
you don't want to
exactly
know
right.
that. You gotta look that turkey in his eye, then he gonna fight with you, then he gonna curse at you, and all of that stuff. But you want to eat it, and
Yep.
that's the way it is. And we okay with that.
We like to see where our meat comes from.
Yeah, definitely. We okay with that. Very light in color, 34 to 52 inches of rainfall yearly that gives us our lush
Okay.
green look. However, because the island we said that is made of a combination of limestone and coral and dead fossil remain, it poses a challenge for agriculture. There are small areas or pockets of good suitable soil that can do agricultural crops on a large scale for not only domestic, for the local GDP, but the GNP, gross national product.
Okay.
So what we could sell to other countries. Now we have some success in selling pineapples.
Okay.
That's the island Eleuthera. They grow some nice sweet pineapples there. I understand that they are sweet as the pineapples in Hawaii, or we'll give them a good run for their money, enough to be on the market. Then it's citrus fruits. In that conch salad, you notice that we put orange and we put lime. They're grown here in the Bahamas.
Okay.
So, and the goat pepper.
That boy was hot.
Yeah, and that was a light vibe because then the finger pepper is also equally as hot. That's the red one that looks like a little finger.
Okay.
They're long.
Like
and
it's
all that.
flipping you off when you eat it.
Yeah.
So
Traditionally, this island is very flat, and the highest hill in the entire island of Nassau to Providence is 125 feet tall. This is not that hill. But, I mean, it's always nice to get up off the ground because we said from the months of June to the end of November, hurricane season. And then when that happens, we could have another Hurricane Dorian that actually flooded the island and the sea, the ocean swirl, and it touched from one end of that island to the other. That was where we had the hugest loss of life.
Wow.
And a lot of those people who died in that were migrant workers coming in from Haiti, trying to look for a better way of life. They were living in the rural areas in the bush, and they didn't know. And the Bahamas is the majority of the Bahamian islands are underwater. I mean, straightforward.
Wow.
They're underwater.
Or when the tide comes, they do
when
go.
the tide comes, right.
Okay.
So that's what's really happening with that.
Which makes it uninhabitable, basically.
Basically, yeah. And on top of that, there was another island that was lightly affected. Now, when Hurricane Dorian was going on in 2019 here in New Providence, I didn't feel a thing.
Interesting.
We didn't. Hey, if you told me someone to die, I'd tell you you're lying. Because I didn't feel anything and this and that. And then we saw the videos. I'm talking about the water running down the streets.
The town's okay.
And not only that, you would say, well, if water, I could swim, I would have made it and that. But here's the thing. The water is muddy and debris. Large pieces of wood and tin and metal that could float or whatever, light metal or like thin. Tin is a light thing. And you could get cut. And there was this one story about the grassy eating coconut.
Oh.
Yeah, there was this one story about this gentleman that when the flood and the ocean swole on his end of the island and it came up, they were inside the house flooded, a one-story level house flooded. That one story is about the house over the pink.
Oh my gosh.
They had to go into the roof. He had to burst a hole through the roof, and him and his son, 5-year-old son, had to come out on top of the roof. This storm was bizarre because it lasted 2 days, hovering over the island. And then when that happened, when they burst through the roof, only to come outside and meet winds, they say were close to 200 miles an hour. Jeez. So it swept the little boy, dragged the little boy off the roof and into the ocean, into the water. And when that happened, the dad jumped into the water and the debris cut his leg open. Something was underneath the water. The water was muddy, rain, wind, rough. Something sliced his leg open and he managed to just swim back to the roof, but the son was swept away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so they were the kind of stories we were listening to. So what do we do for medical if something like that happens?
Yeah.
This is New Providence. This is Doctor's Hospital over to the left of us. Started by Dr. Rassin back in 1955. He began this hospital with some 24 beds, 20,000 square feet. Today it's 71 beds and some 200 highly qualified physicians. In this COVID time, we're talking about the PCR and rapid antigen test, monoclonal antibody treatments. That's where you find
Oh, they do that here?
Oh, yeah. Also, if you remember in 2006, a lady by the name of Anna Nicole Smith, that's where Anna Nicole had her daughter Daniel in that hospital right there. With some 3 days later, the brother had an accidental drug overdose. And with that being said, 2007, Anna Nicole went off to Florida Hard Rock Cafe, and she as well had an accidental drug overdose accident as well.
Nice.
This building over to behind all of that bush, over to the left of us back there, this was a plantation that was about 1,000 acres. So this plantation ran all the way into that area where we were. This was the Sir Collins mansion, and he was a very wealthy businessman, a politician, and all-around gentleman. And eventually, the property came into the hands of the government, and that building that is all the way back there sits on the foundation of a storm that destroyed the building that was originally there in 1929.
Wow.
Cool.
So that building sits on the foundation of a building that was destroyed in a storm. So with this now, the government is promising in this, and this is a botanical. So there's a lot of trees and things that are very traditionally found in the Bahamas. The government is going to open this up as a botanical park. And they say that they're going to make the buildings an antiquities and museum. Wow. These big palm trees are called cement palm trees. And I know you don't believe that, but if you run your motorbike or a car into that, you will exactly see.
They look pretty sturdy.
They are sturdy.
They look pretty sturdy.
Then over here to the right of us is the Tribune. So back in 1903, Leon de Puch begun his Gazette or newspaper company with four pages. And today now, this is the leading newspaper that is on the island.
I read one this morning. It was pretty thick too.
Yeah. Well, they're using a lot more than 4 pages.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
driving-
man. It's the
driving.
most chilly-willy driving in the world. Just let it happen. It's natural.
Yeah, everybody
Just
just
let it
cuts
go.
everybody off. Just give it a little honk. Just give it a little honk.
Just
You're
let
good.
it go, you know?
God.
In the Bahamas, 1 honk means hi, 2 means goodbye, and 3 means kiss. Anyway, let's get back.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right, so all of this was a part of that plantation, but it's been sold off to different, companies and entities and property owners and all of that. But here is another part that was a part of it. But this is the oncology section of the Princess Margaret Hospital, the government hospital. Here in the Bahamas, there are 3 major forms of cancer that affects 43.9% of the population. That would be colorectal, breast, and also lung cancer.
Oh.
No, skin is only 9.6%. Yeah, that's nothing much to talk about. But yeah. The original name of this hospital, the original part was built in 1952. The original name of this was called the General Hospital. But in 1955, Princess Margaret, the daughter of King George VI, mother Queen Elizabeth, and the only sister of Queen Elizabeth II, Princess Margaret visited Nassau, the hospital, the sick and the shut-in. And I like to believe that she left a donation for the country, because in 1955, when she visited, 1956, they dedicated the hospital and changed the name from the General Hospital to the Princess Margaret Hospital in her honor. And the government does that a lot. See the name of that street? Victoria Street. Victoria Avenue. And the street next to that is Elizabeth Street. So we're in the business of paying homage to the monarch. Remember, in the Bahamas, it's a parliamentary legislative democracy where the Queen Elizabeth II, is the head of the ex-British colony. We're still a member of the Commonwealth. The Duke and Duchess of Windsor are coming here next week, so they're cleaning up the island and sweeping and getting ready to say hello to their bosses again, because they say we're independent. But if we're independent, then why does the Queen still have a representative, the Governor General, who speaks on her behalf to consultate? Consultate what? We're independent. 48 years of independence, sovereign independency, and that ended the reign of the British, which was some 325 years.
Wow.
But I digress. 97 or 98% of the food and goods are imported from the U.S. anyway. And all of the national resources like salt and aragonite and sand, all of those natural resources of the Bahamas is in the hands of private companies. And our government put it in the hands of the private company because they are major shareholders and profiting from it. So when you see this large degree of poverty, with only 82,000 workers of it working out of 400,000, hey, 14.4% unemployment, this is what's happening. So with the hospital, 402 beds are dedicated to the public. 31 beds of the Princess Margaret Hospital is private. Expecting mothers, children, persons over 60 years old, government workers, they get to see the doctor for free for basic medical care.
Okay.
Anyone outside of that being a citizen or a, resident, you pay $10. You guys who are straight up visitors to the island, you'll pay $30. But the wait time is anywhere in the neighborhood of 24 to 72 hours to see the doctor. In the event of a serious emergency, the person will get priority over everybody else and move up the line a little faster.
Okay.
And in the event, if you pass away, succumb to your injury, illness, or accident, you will be given a full refund. They'll give you your money back.
Even if you die?
Yeah, especially if you die, you get your money back.
Only if you die, you get your money back.
Okay, I
Yeah.
like the sound of
You get
that.
$30?
Yeah.
So the leading cause of mortality in the Bahamas would be in the range of hypertension, diabetes, HIV, and AIDS. But the number one official cause will be cardiovascular disease. That's 130.9 per 100,000. And the number one unofficial cause of mortality is homicide. Yay!
Wow.
That's what it is. If you don't die from COVID, you'll get shot.
You'll get murdered out here.
You'll pretty much get murdered, yeah. Well, of course, you know these numbers are off the chain. They don't like me talking like this. You know,
We appreciate
You see the
it.
natives looking at me like, what the hell are you telling these people?
No, it's not going to stop us from coming back. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. But at least you know what you're up against.
Yeah.
I'd rather you tell me when I come in your town, listen, man, be careful, than to say, yeah, you okay, don't worry about it, shake it off. Anyway, we're in the area of the Queen's Staircase. We're going to ask you to wait right in that area for me. I got some history to give you.
Okay.
But when I open that door for you, I want you to be careful and look around to the left side because the cars are coming from our blind side from the left, okay?
Gotcha, you
So
got
hang
it.
tight.